Good morning, everybody. Today, thanks to ILA Berlin and Luftwaffe, we get a unique opportunity to take a look on C-130 Hercules. And I will have help in form of two technicians, John and Sasha. So let's take a look at it.
Alright, hello, so my name is John, I'm Sergeant in the French Air Force. I am working on the C-130J as the avionics mechanic.
And my name is Sasha, I'm a Hauptfeldwebel in the German Luftwaffe or Air Force, and I'm working as a mechanic on the C-130J.
So today we're going to do a little walk around to present our aircraft, the C-130J. So first I'm going to present you the nose cone of our C-130J. So inside we have a radar. It's used mostly for weather conditions, detection, and ground mapping. So this is a radar that's just like on civilian airliners, do weather and ground terrain mapping.
Okay. I see Peter probes, Alpha probe. How many Peter probes do you have?
We have 4 on the aircraft. We have 2 systems, pilot, co-pilot, and they each have 2 probes each. There are actually one on the top is going to be linked to the other one on the side on the bottom, and this one on the bottom is going to be linked to the other side on the top. And they collect all the data information we need for speed, altitude.
So here we get our refueling probe to refuel the aircraft in the air. All we need is another aircraft that is able to refuel aircrafts with a hose and a drogue. Here we get the entrance for the crew. We get a door we can open and close just by pushing, and it's also sealed. It's got a sealing around, so the pressurization inside can get loose in here.
So a pressurized cabin.
Yes, it's a pressurized cabin, so we get a message in the flight station if there's a problem, because we got some sensors.
Sort of proximity sensors.
Yes, exactly.
You have a sensor that tells you if the door is open or if there is a leak, if the door has been damaged in some sort of way, so that the pilot knows the pressure is not going to be nominal in the flight cabin.
And we move it back. What we can see over here? What is this box?
So this is a formation light. It is used on the military aircrafts. So it is for the pilots to have low visibility without light, but still be able to see each other. It comes in 2 spectra, eye visible and infrared.
And basically this strip is for like to keep formation, or it's for refueling as well?
So it can do both, not on this aircraft because this is a Dash 30, but on the KC we have more formation lights around the pod so that the pilot can align itself with infrared vision directly on his helmet and be able to connect to the coupling very easily without having the lights on. So it's way more discreet than just having a regular light and a strobe flashing.
And the next interesting thing, which I see open, I think this is APU, right?
Yes, this is the APU on the C-130J. So just like an airliner, it has the same utility, is producing electricity and producing compressed air that is called bleed. So this bleed is used for many things on the aircraft. We have the de-icing to remove ice from the aircraft. So we take hot air that is compressed, send it in the wings to de-ice the leading edge of the wings. We can use it to pressurize the aircraft. We also have to use it to start the engines, so it's one of the key factors for this aircraft is the engines are bleed started. And we can also use it for air conditioning.
Battery, I guess
it's a battery starter, yes. We have the batteries in the front that are going to give power to the APU starter. Once it's started, it's self-sufficient with its own fuel.
So here we got one of our 4 turboprop engines produced by Rolls-Royce. It can produce up to 4,700 horsepower. And here's our propeller with 6 blades produced by Doughty.
What about anti-icing of the blades? Do you have like electrically anti-ice them?
Yes, we have electrically anti-ice. It's on the black mat, just on the roots, goes up to here.
And for example, on the ATR, we had sort of boot on the intake for the anti-ice as well. You have the intake anti-ice as well here, or no?
The intake for the engines? Yes, we actually have a little wire that goes around inside, so it's electrical.
Electrically. Ah, okay. How often you refill the oil, or how? This is quite hard to reach out.
Yes, it completely depends on the hours of flight, so we can't say it especially, but yeah, it depends on how much it flies, how fast, for example, how much power you need, and things like this. Yes, okay. So we can say how often we have to refill.
And what we have over here, I guess this is sort of external tank, right?
Yes, so this is one of our external tanks. We got it on both sides, each one, and it got a capacity of around 6,000 pounds. American aircraft, we calculate everything in pound. And for the fuel system itself, we got like 4 tank systems and auxiliary tank systems. They are located in the wings and in the wing roots.
Okay. And I heard that you have some sort of self-sealing inside. Is it true?
So yeah, these tanks actually contain a lot of foam. It's mostly foam inside, and the foam is to prevent leakage when there is a debris or a projectile penetrating the tank. So it is what we call a self-sealing fuel tank.
Okay, so here we get our aileron. Here to the inside you can see our trim panel. It can be put to a specific position at the beginning just to compensate the airflow.
And on the end of the wing I see tube, I guess that's a jettison system, right?
Yes, this is the fuel jettison system, so we just have to press a little button in the cockpit and it opens a valve and the fuel comes out.
This is for heavy landings, right? So if you need to land.
Emergency landings when we are heavy, yes. So what you can see now on the trailing edge of the wing are the flaps. So we have some really big flaps on this aircraft. It is divided in 4 parts, individual parts. So if the outer one breaks, we can retract the outer one on the other side and still have the inner ones that will work normally. So it is made in case there is damage on one of the flaps. It can actually take other flaps to lower individually.
So this is one of our paratroop doors. We got 2 of them, one left, one right. It's for the paratroopers to jump out. This one is the air deflector door. It keeps the oncoming air away from the aircraft and away from the paratroopers, so that when they jump, they get one step more before the air comes, and they get away from the aircraft so they don't collide with the aircraft anymore. For this type of jumping, they got an automatically parachute, so they hook themselves onto a line, they jump, and they can't control the parachute after it opens.
So now we have the big part of the aircraft, it's the ramp door. This is used to drop pallets, paratroopers, cargo, whatever is needed. We can even load and unload vehicles. We can drop the vehicles from the sky. So this is one of the important missions we have as a tactical transport aircraft. As you can see, the ramp is hydraulically commanded. We also have the ground auxiliary loading ramps to make vehicles enter inside, so it's easier for them to just roll up inside, go into the cargo. We strap them, and then if needed, we can drop them on any zone we can. So this door opens in 2 ways. So this is the ramp that goes down and can also be centerlined to load pallets inside, and the door goes up to leave all the space for the cargo. So right in the ramp right now, as you can see, we have a hydraulic reservoir that is used to stock hydraulics. So this is the auxiliary one. Right under there you can find an auxiliary pump system. So this is what will give pressure to the auxiliary system. It is used to open, close the ramps, and as emergency for the brakes. We can have seats all the way up till here. We can also have liters for evacuation of wounded people. And also, interesting factor about this aircraft is that everything is in the aircraft, everything we need. We can change the configuration of the aircraft during the flight between missions. So all we have to do here is pull, take this piece out, turn it over, and now we have rollers for pallets. And we just put it in like this, strap it in, and we can actually have all the rollers to support all the pallets till the end of the cargo over there.
So it's big Lego, basically.
It's a big Lego, it's very adaptable to any mission, and you can do it during the flight between two missions, which is a very key important factor, for example, that the A400M does not have.
And it's new airplane, actually.
It's a new airplane. This is a very old airplane. I mean,
Yeah.
it was built in the 1970s. It's a very old aircraft by design. It has been modernized a lot. So there are actually new things you can put on the aircraft, like the flight systems. The avionics inside are brand new, but overall the system stays old. But it's very reliable and it's very, very sturdy. And this is what is important in this aircraft, the tactical ability to operate any missions and to be able to change the missions if something goes unplanned.
Okay, so here for example we got the litters, so we can do medevac missions. We got 3 of them here. We can put up to 5 on one station, and that's in 2 rows from the back to the front, so up to 97 litters. So we can be like a flying hospital for evacuation of wounded personnel, for example, and it is possible to do like surgeries on flight.
So moving forward in the cargo, we have the other two hydraulic systems. We have the utility and the booster that is just behind over there. The utility is used for everything. This is the main hydraulic system for flight control, for brake and other systems that require hydraulics. And over there is the booster system that is used to complement the utility only for the flight controls. So if you are using the utility operating the flight controls and using other systems, the pump on this utility hydraulic will not be enough. So we have a booster system that comes as a secondary system that will complement the utility and give enough power and maintain the power for all the flight controls.
And how you provide power to these hydraulic systems?
So these hydraulic systems, so the utility and the booster, are engine powered. So we need the engines running to run the power on this one. For the maintenance, for us as mechanics, we have to move the flight controls, lower the flaps, move the ailerons and the rudders from time to time, according to what the maintenance says. So we actually have a handle that is below and outside. We are able to lower it, and it will connect the auxiliary to the utility. So both systems will be connected. So we just have to put power to that electrical pump, and it will pressurize the utility by the auxiliary. So since the utility can power everything on the aircraft, so the flight control, the flaps, we will be able to operate the flaps and the flight controls just by using this pump over there. We can also have a cart, hydraulic cart, servicing cart, that we can just plug into the side, and it will provide the necessary power to move the flight controls.
And I here see some inspection windows. What they are good for?
It's a window where we can actually see the screw that is used to raise the landing gear. So a landing gear is fixed to 2 screws, one here and the other one right here behind, and the screw turns and the landing gear just goes up.
Ah, okay, so it's only the retraction extension is only thanks to jack screw.
Yes,
Okay.
it is hydraulically powered, and if necessary, in case of emergency, since it's a screw, we just remove the locks and gravity will do the rest, and the gear will fall out and lock itself.
Okay, safety is there. Interesting. One very important question: where you go to the toilet when you need to, because this is quite open space, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, sometimes we got long flights and you can't hold it back anymore, so we get 2 urinals here, and in the back we got 1 toilet for sitting in.
Okay, so you have sort of curtain.
Yeah, we got a curtain for some privacy if you need it.
So right now what you can see is the compartment that separates the cargo from the flight station. As you can see, it is fully opened. So if the cargo is not pressurized, the cabin will not be pressurized as well. That's why when they are going to drop paratroopers from high altitude, they will also have required to put oxygen mask on them. The pilot, the co-pilot and the loadmaster as well as all the crew inside the cargo.
Okay. Hello to flight deck.
Welcome in the flight deck of the C-130J. As you can see, we have the latest version of this aircraft. It is the Block 8, so it is a fully glass cockpit with all the screens necessary to for the pilots, for the comfort of flying. The flight controls are actually fly by cable, so we have kept the old version, but everything around it is the brand new new generation of electrical equipment. So it's a mix of old and new technology, which makes it very robust, very strong, easy to maintain.
This was video about C-130J, and I would like to say big thanks to John and Sasha for the time and the knowledge which they share with us. And as well, I would like to say big thanks to ILA Berlin and Bundeswehr for this opportunity to record their airplane. And thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you on next video. Bye.